You're listening to the WLW Studios Radio Network, broadcasting live from Center City, Philadelphia, WLW Studio South, Studio B. This is the Midnight Jury.
Welcome back. This is segment 3 of episode 2 of the Midnight Jury. This is Mike Norenganger.
Co-host Adam Henning.
And we're back. This is segment 3. Segment 1, of course, was on the
Selective memory of Vince McMahon.
No, that was segment 2. Segment 1 was the horror recap. It was kind of just a little bit of about the Halloween movies, stuff like that. 2 was the Vince McMahon selective memory.
Yes.
Which we actually just recorded, and you forgot that.
Yes.
But here we are. We are at segment 3 of episode 2, and this one is a little new. This is still on the idea of the horror. We haven't got to pop culture yet because we do want to wait for a little bit of your input. We have gotten a little input, but we do want a little bit more. Please email us at WLWstudiosNewJersey at gmail.com.
Or leave a comment.
And New Jersey is just NJ. So WLW Studios NJ. Or, Facebook.com/WLW Studios. We also have another show coming up in the future, which is going to be pretty exciting. And we hope that... Actually, I should have mentioned this on a few more segments. But if you've ever thought of or heard about astral projection or any...
Sleep paralysis.
Out-of-body experiences. We have a guest coming up on our show who not only can do that, not only knows how to control their dreams, but also knows how to, basically has had experience with out-of-body experiences firsthand himself.
You can call him an expert.
And
of sorts in the field.
And we're going to actually go live to his house, which is not in Philly. It is in New Jersey. I'm not going to tell you where or anything like that.
It's a secret location.
Location.
There's actually a bunker
Yep.
in the house, a bomb bunker.
But either way, we're going to speak to him, and that's going to be an exciting show. When we get that hooked up, we're going to have a whole segment, maybe even long enough for a show, on out-of-body experiences and that nature. So please, this is going to be a fun. That's going to be a fun one.
I think there's a link between a lot of people being interested in horror movies and the supernatural in that sense, and maybe that interest may be sparked by certain things that happen in their real life. I know myself and Mike have both had certain experiences,
which is why we ended up talking to this person.
Correct, with the paranormal and even certain spiritual dream experiences.
Yeah. Myself
with sleep paralysis more so. If you guys don't know what that is, we will explain further in the show about it, and then
in the future,
Mike with certain, it's what dream like states,
just being able to control lucid dream,
correct,
stuff like that.
Astral
but that's
projection.
coming up in the future, and that's going to be a big show, and we're going to have a few more shows to keep promoting that. But either way, this segment is going to be still in the horror segment, and we want more of your input on pop culture. So anything 80s, 90s pop culture, music, movies, TV, please send us your messages. But this segment's going to be on the Child's Play movie series, Chucky, the good guy doll.
Yes.
And we're going to stick in this segment, we're going to try and keep it brief, kind of wet your whistle, and get deeper into Child's Play maybe, and make it the highlight of the show of another, maybe our next show or the show after that. But we're going to try and keep it to the first 3, leaving out Bride and Seed, which we both seen. I like Bride, Seed, but we could talk about them. But we want to try and keep it to 1, 2, and 3. Just keep it to the original ones named Child's Play, not Chucky's name.
An introduction sort of to the series. Because just like with the Halloween movies and basically every other horror franchise, when you start getting to the later movies, the controversy starts arising.
Yeah.
And the arguments start arising. And that's what this show's all about. It's a jury deliberating on these topics. But we feel like the second... The 2 final movies are sort of the most controversial in the series, and there's a lot to be said about just those 2.
And they're very similar and can be kind of grouped together.
Exactly.
Kind of like Halloween 4 and 5 can be grouped together, or 1 and 2. Kind of like that a deal. They fall in the same time frame with the same sort of,
quirkiness and stuff.
Yes, they're very similar.
So Halloween 1, 2, and 3. Obviously,
This is when it was Child's Play.
Did I say Halloween?
I don't know. Did you? I thought you said, maybe you said Chucky. I don't know. We're late in the night, ladies and gentlemen. I've had a few martinis. This is our final segment. Our time is getting deep.
I called it Halloween.
Did
He
you?
didn't even realize that I said
maybe
Halloween.
thought you said Chucky. I just wasn't. I mean, I'm a few martinis in. I'm feeling great.
We've talked endlessly about Halloween, but Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, I'm sure this synopsis is not needed at all, but it follows
Andy Barkley
and a killer basically transporting Charles Lee Ray is the killer.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, he's like a burglar, right? No,
he's the notorious Lakeshore Strangler.
Okay, correct.
Yep.
I'm thinking
he's a strangler. He's a murderer, robber. I think he's everything. He's just a bad guy.
Yeah, he's through and through bad. Like
you
one of the
don't
worst
want to mess
criminals.
with Charles Lee Ray. And by the way, Brad Dourif, who plays Chucky's voice and Charles Lee Ray, who also ends up. That's one of the things I respect about Rob Zombie. I'm glad he brought Daniel Harris back. I'm glad he brought Brad Dourif in as Sheriff Brackett. I love that he's paying homage to those movies. And Chucky's voice is Chucky's voice. It's almost the same as if they re-released Chucky without Brad Dourif. Till he dies, he's just a voice.
I'm Rob Zombie. I'm going to use the most widely accepted horror movies in each franchise and kind of take certain elements of only the ones that the most people like, and then put them into my movie.
Look, this is about Brad Dourif and him being the voice of Chucky. And if they ever, God forbid, try to remake that franchise, they better keep him as Chucky's voice, because that's Chucky's voice, and he could be 1,000,000 years old and still have that voice.
Correct. I feel like they could sit him down and tape and like tons and tons of words and like phrases for future Chucky movies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where he could die and they would still have a vast library of his voice.
Or just use previous Chucky movies to grab his voice off of and just pay his family royalties.
Yeah. Maybe his son, if he has a son, has a similar voice. But yeah, this terrible person, not only is he a criminal, he is a Satanist, right? He worships...
well, in Voodoo, yeah. It's
Voodoo.
definitely a Voodoo thing, and he basically uses part of his Voodoo knowledge, which you do find out later in the movie, where he got it and everything. But he uses that to he gets shot by a cop who's chasing him, who's played by the guy who played Jerry Dandridge in Fright Night, the original Fright Night. Did you ever see Fright Night?
I have not.
Oh my God!
I know.
I man, we need to get you to watch Fright Night. I have Fright Night too. That's embarrassing. But either way, yeah. So he is chasing Brad Dourif and shoots him, and Brad Dourif's going to die and doesn't want to die. So the closest thing to him, he ends up being chased into a toy shop.
The thing that makes Child's Play a more serious horror movie, not much of a joke, is the fact that the doll element, the fact that this doll is alive, it's an accident that it happens in the first place. The person playing Brad Dourif, right, playing the criminal, wants to transport his soul because he's dying. His mortal body is about to expire. He needs to transfer it to a living
immediately,
being,
pretty much.
human being.
Yeah.
But there are no human beings where he got shot. He's in a toy store, right?
Yes.
So what does he do? He
transfers his soul into the doll, which is a good guy doll, which looks like a My Buddy doll. If you're listening to this and haven't seen Child's Play, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But so you know what Chucky looks like. He transfers his soul into that body, and that's when in the first movie it's a mystery because they almost start it like almost like a thriller where you don't know if the kid is really talking to the doll, who's played by Alex Vincent. That's Andy Barkley. You don't know if he is really talking to the doll or if he's going crazy. And they play that for a while until at one point the mother, who's played by, I don't remember her name. I have the movie over here, but she is the mom from Seventh Heaven, TV show. Yeah. So she eventually, and this is almost, I feel like halfway, maybe even a little more through the movie, she finds out that the doll has been talking and whatnot the whole time without batteries. And that's when you find out the kid is not crazy, I'm pretty much sure, and, whatever. So, I mean, the first movie is definitely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is just great.
And the little kid is such a good actor.
Yeah,
he cries in the
he's
movie.
good. He's pretty good. I like him.
You feel horrible when he's crying, and you know Chucky's
I
after
actually
him.
even feel bad. I actually almost feel the same way with him with 1 and 2 to the next one, which was Child's Play 3. I almost feel bad for him, almost in the same way that Danielle Harris didn't get hired back for Halloween 6, that he didn't get hired for that role, but, you know, he wasn't old enough to play Andy that many years later.
Is that why they did that?
Yeah, because it was made. You know what? Right now, I'm having my cigarette. I'm finishing up my martini. But we can find out all that. We have the videos right here. We're old school. I got them on VHS right here. But yeah, just look at the difference between Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. Do a little research there. And but yeah, they had another guy play Andy, and almost as in Nightmare 2, I don't approve of the character. The guy they portrays Andy. I think Andy would have been a lot more tough-skinned and less baby-faced than the kid that they played. I understand he was baby-faced because he was a baby at the time that he did 1 and 2. He was a young kid. But he grew up. Like, he doesn't still have to be baby-faced. He can be a little tough and, like a little angry from what he's been through. He's watched people he cares about and whatever be killed. He's watched his mother be put away for being insane. Like, he should be a little bit more messed up, I think, and a little less baby-faced and, like, innocent than he is.
Yeah, I'm really, to this day, I think we should try to find out why he wasn't cast in Child's Play 3. I mean, Child's Play 3 only happens a year after 2.
No. Yeah, you mean made.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's why. Because in Child's Play 3, he's playing a 16-year-old Andy Barkley all of a sudden.
No, I get that, but I feel like in order to keep the original actor, in most cases they'll write a story around keeping that original actor, especially if it's the main character. I
agree. Maybe. I mean, we could do some research to check to see if Alex Vincent, maybe parents
didn't want to do it anymore.
Maybe, yeah. But still, I still feel like even if they wanted to go with the story they had for Child's Play 3, him at 16, I feel like they could have found a little tougher looking and tougher acting kid than the kid they had playing at the military school in Child's Play 3.
Okay.
Not really a huge fan of him. Justin Whalen, just did my research. Not a huge fan of him, just like I'm not a huge fan of the guy in Nightmare 2.
Okay. No, yeah, I guess going over our favorite of the first 3, I think Child's Play 1 is the all-around best movie. I think
it definitely has a great feel to it.
Yeah,
everything about the way it was made.
It seems like a
there are some
big
creepy
budget
ass
movie.
scenes. Like when I remember the scenes that stick out for me as a child were the scenes where Andy was in the in almost like children's insane asylum, and he was watching, like, he knew Chucky was coming for him, but he couldn't get out of his room, and he kept looking out that little window with the bars and seeing Chucky get higher and higher up on the stairs, like moving up towards his
he's
level.
crying, trying to get out of the room.
To get out of the room, and like there's just such intense scenes with him and that doll, like, we're just, I just remember that scene.
You can picture being that little kid begging the adults to let you out of the room. Please let me out. Like, that's powerful. It was like really powerful, and just like the movie takes itself 100% seriously, and
even the scene, like, in the same, and I'm gonna go back to Halloween with Halloween 6 and the cult. It's almost like with Child's Play and the Voodoo. Granted, it was Child's Play 1, but it goes a little far, goes a little supernatural religion with me. But if they were going to use it, I like the way they used it, and I like that Chucky went back to the guy who taught him voodoo. I forget his name, the black guy, whatever. But he, and then he uses that voodoo against him, and like I remember as a kid watching him break that voodoo doll's leg, and that guy go down and like scream. Like, that guy really made it feel painful.
Oh yeah.
Like, and the good sound effects they use, like, and the guy screaming, that was another scene that stuck out in my head.
Definitely.
When he's standing on the counter and he's like, I got hurt, and he's like, he's showing him like the burn from like when the guy burned him with the cigarette lighter, and that's when he tells him he's being turned human, and he has to get out of the doll because he only in an inanimate object or whatever, he only has a certain amount of time, for all of you who don't know, whatever. Excuse me. And he needs to get into a human body. And that human body, of course, is the first person he told his secret to, that he's not just a doll, he's a human inside a doll, and that would be Andy Barclay, who he then has to get his body and soul into.
Now, once the Chucky doll became completely like flesh and blood, would he be stuck in that body forever?
Yeah, and he wouldn't be able to transfer out.
Okay.
That's why he needed to get into a human, so he would be able to remain a human.
Gotcha. I guess I wasn't clear as to whether even if he did turn into a,
Well, what happened was in Child's Play 2, which is my favorite of the series, of the whole series, yes. But I love Child's Play, I love the original, but my critiques between 1, 2, and 3 are this. As the movies got along, Chucky got a little more humorous and a little more jokey and a little more stand-up comedian, which, granted, he was funny a lot of the times. But 2 was a nice mixture of 1 and 3, where it had the creepiness and scariness of 1, but it had a little bit of jokes here and there, tiny here and there, jokes that Chucky did, and I think they perfected the movement of the doll by 2. 1 was still good, but I think they perfected it a little more in 2. 3, like once I said, he started getting a little bit more ridiculous with the jokes. It got a little more crazy. And then on to the, obviously, Bride and Seed. But I like 2 the best.
Yeah,
I've always loved 2, and I love the toy factory scene, even though it's like clearly no toy factory looks like that.
Yeah,
with all the colors and everything.
There's sort of a complexity of the Child's Play movies that I think is lost on Bride and Seed, where there's sort of like this social commentary in 2, where you have these like CEOs and executives not doing everything they can to brush away this incident in order to keep the brand going and continue to make money.
But he did turn human at the end of 2. That's why at the beginning of 3, he realized that he told his secret to Tyler, who's the little black kid. So that he doesn't have to... Andy now is a protector of Tyler and not the person he needs to transfer his soul into, because by Child's Play 3, it's a new body.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, because he...
a completely new body because his blood dripped into the vat of the new... That was the beginning of Child's Play 3. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
But that was the first time he got a completely new body.
Yeah, but I really like the...
Which, by the way, they completely gave up. I guess See, I don't understand. In Bride of Chucky and in Seed of Chucky, he would have been human by... in 3, he got chopped up at the end by that fan. And then she sews him back together in Bride, which I liked. I liked that it makes sense why he's all cut up. Because in that's great.
Yeah, I like that continuity.
In Bride and Seed, the one great thing is Chucky's all cut up and stuff, and it's not like weird Michael Myers where sometimes he's cut up, sometimes he's not in certain movies. He was cut up because in Child's Play 3, he got chopped up by that huge fan in the amusement park on the haunted ride. So that's cool, but I guess he can't transfer out of his body anymore, but he was going to anyway, even though he's still technically in the same body, from 1 to 2. So really, he should still be looking for Tyler.
Is he in the same body from 1 to 2?
Yeah. Well, it's not a completely new body. It's the same frame and everything, and they rebuild the face over it. But then in Child's Play, from 2 to 3, at the end of 2, he's all melted and destroyed. And in Child's Play 3, they clip him when the place is all cobwebs and whatever, and they clip him and he's bleeding, but it's just a factory thing, so they don't see it. And they move him over the new vat of plastic, and his blood drips into the plastic, and that creates Chucky. The first doll off the line is Chucky.
Okay.
So it's a whole different body except for the blood that mixed in.
It's so cool, the concept behind how intricate Chucky coming back in each movie is, and how well thought out and satisfied I feel like all the fans were with how they did it.
That's why I have no problem with 3, even though it's set a little in the future and it didn't use a main character that I love. I like the idea of the military school because I actually attended a military school.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But
doesn't he replace the fake bullets with real bullets at one point?
Yeah, and that's cool too, knowing the whole time that they're all out there with real bullets, or one team. One team had real bullets and the other team had paint. But still, I mean, it was awesome. It was like, there were awesome, great parts, and that's why I have no problem with Child's Play 3, and I would never be like, oh, forget Child's Play 3.
Yeah, I feel like throughout the whole series, they do an awesome job of having these like parental adult figures forcing these kids into situations where the kids know what's going on, but they can't get the parents to believe them, and the parent and authority figures continue to put them in these horrible scenarios. And most of us being younger when we saw these movies, you like completely feel for the kids being forced into these horrible scenarios where you know what's about to happen, but there's no way out. When you're a kid, you're powerless, and you can't make the decision to get out of there if your parent makes the alternate decision.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so scary. By the time you get to Bride and Seed,
it's become almost a joke.
Yeah,
it became
none of
almost
that's
a movie
part
that
of it.
you go and have fun to, not a movie you're really scared of. But I still put Chucky up in the top 4 of my slashers of all time, which one day we'll talk about. But I'm always putting my top 4. Chucky's always in there with Freddy and Jason and Michael.
I wonder if the general public though views Child's Play like we do. I feel like they don't view it as seriously as we do.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're a fan of any movie series, you're going to take it very seriously. Like, I don't look at how serious are you with the Hellraiser, with the Pinhead?
I mean, Hellraiser 1, which is actually the only one I've seen. There's a lot of holes in my viewing history. Is very serious. I feel like it's a very powerful movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen many, and I've seen parts of them, but I've seen them on TV and stopped watching because I hate watching movies on TV that have commercials and are edited.
Yeah.
But I just never looked at that character as that scary, and he just didn't look, whatever it was. I
mean, I think he's.
But
very
I think
scary.
no. But what I'm saying is, I think there's a lot of people out there who take Pinhead and the Hellraiser series as serious as other people take Chucky, or as other people take Michael Myers, or as other people. I think every horror slasher has their audience.
Yeah.
Like their specific audience.
I feel like there was a time when we were younger, though, that Chucky did have more of a place than it does now. I feel like
I agree.
At one point, it was like one of the main movies to see if you're going to, if you're a horror fan.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of, I feel like it's a little bit forgotten. Not that it's obscure. It's not obscure by any means, but I don't think it holds the same place as it used to. And I think it's partly because of the Seed and Bride movies where they started taking it less seriously.
Yeah.
And I feel like the younger generation, which may have seen these movies, feel like, oh, well, I'm not going to go back and watch 3 movies that are like Chucky acting a fool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I do like that they haven't strayed from the original canon. That's one thing we were talking about previous to the recording or whatever. But I don't know where they'd go from here because I wish they could just go off of 3 and forget. I didn't mind Bride, but once I realized they were going to keep going with it, it became almost ridiculous.
Yeah.
It became too much, and I'm not going to get into that. That's another time, another place.
Maybe there isn't anywhere to go.
But 1, 2, and 3 to me are the Child's Play movies that, if you're going to call yourself a true fan of Chucky, you better know those movies better than you know the newer ones.
Oh, most definitely.
I definitely look at those first 3 movies just as I look at certain Halloween movies, just as I look at certain Friday the 13th, just as I look at certain Nightmare movies.
They're just as important to me.
Yeah, they're just as important, and I wouldn't be the horror fan I am today if I hadn't seen them.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you have anything else to add or want us to get into when we do our next Child's Play set, email us at WLW Studios New Jersey, which is NJ, WLW Studios NJ, at gmail.com, or go on our Facebook page. Please go on our Facebook page and like us. It's facebook.com/WLW Studios. We are the Midnight Jury. I'm Mike Norenganger. This was our 2nd episode. If you haven't listened to our other ones, we went over wrestling. We went over Vince McMahon destroying the history of wrestling. We went over Halloween stuff. I apologized partially for Halloween 6. We went over a lot of stuff. I'm happy with episode 2. How you feeling?
Very, 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 very happy. One last request, just as I asked our fans to write their favorite to least favorite Halloween mask in the comment section or through email. If you could just let us know what your favorite to least favorite Child's Play movie is, either in the comment section.
And you can even add Seed and Bride, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, add them all. Do it so we can get everything.
Fair enough. That is what we want you to do.
All right, this is the Midnight Jury. I am Mike Norenganger.
I am Adam Henning once again.
And I enjoyed my martinis. I hope you enjoyed your blends that you smoked tonight in your pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you want wrestling talk and talk about wrestling of Wrestling Today, go to shiningwizards.com. Otherwise, we're the Midnight Jury on WLW Studios. It's facebook.com/WLW Studios. Go on and like us. I am Mike Norenganger.
Adam Henning. Order in the card. Order in the card.
Midnight Jury.